Yo, 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 yo. That's my people. Want to give more viewers and more listeners a chance to hop on the stream in the chat. Ty D Butler. You see it on your screen. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitter at Ty D Butler. TikTok, all of a sudden, ain't it popping over there? Going on TikTok. As you can see, we are flirting with the new show logo. Shout out to this dude who pulled up in the chat one day, two giant goofballs. He's got a podcast, New York Giant News and Updates. He is on every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. And he hit me on the side and was like, yo, I've got an idea for a show logo for you. Then he put this thing together. So shout out to him. And I will be joining that podcast. I think I'm going to go on Thursday night to talk some New York Giants football. But, it's a lot of love. One of the cool things about being in this space, and we'll get to the Knicks in a moment. How concerned are you? Are they broken? One of the coolest things about being in this space is that even in a world where, we've got a lot of just weirdos, a lot of haters, a lot of folks who are just rooting on your downfall. There are some genuinely kind, authentic folks who really just want to help. See you doing something in the content creator space and want to serve as an assistant. So shout out to all of you guys. Let's get to it, man. And I'll be honest. So I was out with my kids yesterday, Martin Luther King Day, which meant no school. And we were like, we'll take them to one of the little funhouse places so they can do a lot of running and jumping around. And we were having a blast there. So on my way home, I had it in my mind, early start for the Knicks. I'm going to pop it on once I get to the crib. And then for those of you who have kids know, I've got a 4 and a 3-year-old. You get home, it's just chaos, between the night routine that involves cleaning the crib, making sure they're bathed and they're fed and, they're tucked in. There was just a lot happening for me yesterday. So I have forgotten about the Knicks early start, just that quickly. And all of a sudden I get a text from one of my boys who's a diehard Knicks fan in the chat. And he said something. He was like, the Knicks just don't have it. He's like, they are embarrassing. And then it clicked for me. Oh, that's right. They've got a 5 o'clock start against the Mavs. So as I'm pulling it up on my TV screen, I just went to my ESPN app just to, see what was going on. And they're down 30. So I immediately go to Twitter and I put out there, how are the Knicks down 30 at home to a bad Mavs team? And people hitting me up, just expressing their concerns. So I watched the second half of the game. And in the NBA, we know, and I think this is happening in football too, where the no lead is safe. NFL, we saw the Bears all year long have been coming back to open the playoffs. They're down 21-3, and we're like, all right, this game's not over. So there was a part of me that felt like, all right, the Mavs are undermanned. There's no Gafford, there's no Washington, there's no Kyrie, obviously, no Anthony Davis. D'Angelo Russell's out. That's 5 guys who would be playing real minutes for the Mavs. So the Knicks, with all this talent, Josh Hart comes back, Jalen Brunson's back. I don't know if they'll win the game, but they should be able to make it more interesting to where you feel like, all right, now I'm intrigued the rest of the way. And it just never really happened. So I posed a question to y'all. Hit me up in the chat, in the comments, and make sure you give me a follow on social media at Ty D Butler. Are the Knicks broken? Kevin Zwicker, he says, I went from mildly concerned about my Knicks to full blown panicking. This is clearly an issue between Cat and Brown. All right. So I put this out on Twitter this morning as I'm just mentally preparing for the show, just firing off a couple of tweets just to address what has been a horrifying display of basketball from the Knicks, who have now lost 9 of 11 games. Which, by the way, that's an eighth of the season. That's a pretty large sample size where they've just been horrendous. And I outline like the issues that I feel are layered. I feel like I'm beating a drum. A bad defense can't win 4 playoff rounds. Like, it just can't happen. When you are a bad defense, that can only be masked. That can only be masked by a great offense, but that great offense can only take you so far if your defense is putrid. And they've just simply been, since December 1st, one of the worst defenses in basketball. It's just not a sustainable recipe for any team trying to win a championship. And we talked about it last year. It was clearly an issue that when 2 of your best players are traffic cones, like there's only but so much OG, Mitchell Robinson, and Mikal Bridges can do. Now, Mikal Bridges, I will say this, man. You sometimes watch him play defense and you come away just underwhelmed. You're like, yo, forget the 5 first-round picks. Like, I'm just tired of having that conversation. One of the reasons why you were excited about the trade, it's not just the Nova Knicks component chemistry. It's like we have the opportunity to, when you just look around the league, go, all right, how many teams have 2 great perimeter defenders? Like 2 excellent perimeter defenders. Okay, those are the teams who we think can win the title. And we thought the Knicks had that, except like you watch them now and you don't feel like they have 2 exceptional perimeter defenders. OG Anunoby is outstanding. He's tremendous. But the rest of the team, and more specifically Bridges, like, you're just underwhelmed by what you've seen so far. So last 15 games for the Knicks, defensive rating, they're 27th. It's just not good enough. It's that is never going to be good enough to win a championship. In the month of January for the Knicks, and we're nearing the end here, it's January 20th. Defensive rating, they're 27th. In December, defensive rating, they were okay. In December, defensive rating, they were 10th. So they've plummeted. Second half of December, and for almost the entirety of this month, they've been one of the worst defenses in basketball. And I just don't know how you fix that. They do have some individual players who are great on that end. Deuce McBride, I think, is a really good defender. OG is one of the best in the NBA. Mitchell Robinson, obviously. Josh Hart. And Mikal Bridges has just been fine. But when you have so many other guys who are one-dimensional, like Shamet, like Jordan Clarkson, like Brunson, and Cat, four important pieces of this rotation, Tyler Kolek. Like, when you have 5 guys who we can just rattle off, who you want to play significant minutes for this team, who just are awful on defense, you can't have Bridges beat a fine defensive player. You need him to be elite. And he just hasn't been that. So they clearly have a ceiling of what they can be on that side of the floor, which means they have to, like, worst case scenario, have to be like a just a top 5 offense. and you're just not getting that. So on the year, the Knicks are the fourth best offense, which again, really good. And when I say you're not getting that, I mean on nights like last night where it's just inconsistent. So the numbers are going to end up being fine. But in order to overcome the 27th best defense in the NBA, your offense has to consistently be tremendous. And, in this stretch that has included games where you've missed Brunson and missed Josh Hart, like you're not getting what you need from this group. Um, Couple of tough days. Then one of the greatest enjoyments was watching Knicks 6,000 plus games and watch 13 and 13 out 14 and 13 over 27 games get spanked by the Mavs. Not happy against a depleted team. Ty Butler, shout out to Spike, says best young broadcaster in town. I appreciate the love. Mike Brown teams also poor on closeout and three balls, and we saw the Knicks last year struggled against 3-point shooting, which in the NBA is going to kill you. Like even I keep focusing on how good their offense is. If your offense is good, but you can't defend the three, you're just not going to win the title. Great to see Ty. Cat's the main culprit. Bridges on defending analytics. Stats are way down. So as I continue to run through the list, I've just always found the Karl Anthony Towns Mike Brown relationship was weird from the start, and this kind of got lost because, and I'm gonna try to find it, because it was opening night, and then the Knicks made a statement at home against Cleveland. So something Kat said that I thought was odd and I thought should have been a bigger story, just again got swallowed up in the Knicks just being fantastic that night. And like we didn't really focus on it too much, but in real time I did address it. I might have been on the radio that night. Either on the radio or I streamed, and I thought, like something about this is weird. I want to try to pull it up. I should have had this ready to go. But Cat, prior to the opening night of the season, was asked a question about his role on the team. And he said something like he's like, I'm not sure. Which felt weird to me because I just wondered, like, how does the second best player on a team expected to win its conference not know his role on offense? And you can say, well, it's early in the season. But that would make more sense if they had traded for him this past offseason and they're just still trying to figure it out. When you've got an entire training camp and preseason to get your players as up to speed and get them to a point where their roles are clearly defined, I just find it to be alarming when Cat says that he's unsure about his role on the team. That's a big deal to me. And again, it gets lost because they won the game. It was a statement against Cleveland. All right, so here it is. I got it. I found it. And shout out to the people in the chat. If you're on the stream, I want to hear from you. Your thoughts. Are the Knicks broken? So here's the quote. And this is on, and I'm going to pull it up right here. This was on October 20th, so right before the season opener against the Cavs. Here was Cat. Honestly, I don't know on his potential role in the Knicks' new offense. And I saw that and I thought to myself, well, that's weird. For you to just not know your role on the offense. I mean, you're a pretty important piece. The Knicks can't win a championship without a fully engaged, fully locked in Towns. Like, it's just not going to happen. Now, remember, Towns went on to miss opening night because he had what they initially called a grade 2 quad strain, but then he came back for the game against the Celtics. And I'm not an expert in the medical field. I just find it hard to imagine you can have a grade 2 quad strain and then play 3 days later. And he came back in that Celtics game and he had 26 and 13. So you felt like, all right, not a big deal. So again, has this quote about, his role in the offense. I don't know. Misses the first game, and what you loved about it was, well, actually, no, I think I got that wrong. He didn't he didn't miss that first game, right? Didn't he play? I think he might have played. Yes, he did play. All right, so now it's coming back to me. It's not that he sat the first game. He was listed as doubtful. I remember this. He was listed as doubtful for the Cleveland game, and then got upgraded to questionable, had 19 and 11 in that first game, and then afterwards talked about how he was dealing with a grade 2 quad strain, but he felt like he owed it to the fans who were excited for the home opener, who had paid, you know, pretty exorbitant price for those seats. So he felt like he owed it to the fans to play in that game. And he actually went out there, played okay, and it was really good against the Celtics. So that's why this quote that's on the screen got lost. But the more we see him play, and he's kind of like, it's like low hanging fruit when it comes to, like, when the Knicks are struggling, go find someone to blame. It's going to be the head coach and it's going to be Towns. And so part of me feels like, I was talking to someone this morning and he's like, Towns kind of reminds me of like Tim Thomas. And I said, that's disrespectful. Tim Thomas was a ball handling big guy, never quite reached his potential. And he felt like it was an attitude issue, it was an effort thing. And I said, listen, Cat's one of the most talented players in the league. Like he's the number one overall pick for a reason back in 2015. Like excellent rebounder, tremendous scorer. Now the numbers from 3-point range are down this year, but he's a really, really good basketball player. So I don't want to disrespect him. But I mean, if we're being honest, there's a lot about his game that's frustrating. And we harp on it all the time, the silly fouls. Like you're so valuable to your team. Like you can't engage in just like the goofiness of, let's pick up a foul that really doesn't, that really is unnecessary. It's like in the NFL sometimes where you'll watch a running back pick up a 25-yard gain, or the quarterback escape the pocket for a 30-yard gain. And then it's called back because of a holding call. You watch the replay and the announcers will point out, yo, you didn't even need to do that. The center's grabbing the defensive player and he didn't need to. Like the running back, the quarterback was already ahead of him. Like it's just unnecessary. And you feel that way watching Cat sometimes, where it's like, fam, what you just did, the foul you committed was so unnecessary. You didn't need to do that. And and I said this to my boy the other day. It sometimes feels like Cat's body does things that like he doesn't want it to do, and he's like just not in control. Like as weird as it is to sound, like as weird as that sounds, that's what it sometimes looks like. It's like just involuntarily doing something that's just so silly, and you get frustrated because as much as you want to kill him, and as much as he frustrates you, you need him on the floor. He's that talented, and he's a huge problem. So the relationship between him and Mike Brown has always just been weird, and I think there's something to that. I also uh, feel like there have been some alarming comments that have come from that locker room. What did Josh Hart? I'm gonna pull up what Josh Hart said. Josh Hart said a couple of things yesterday. He's like he's not close to 100%, but he felt like because of the magnitude of the moment, the team struggling, he wanted to come back. And I just don't know that that's a smart thing to do. Josh Hart asked if the Knicks' flaws are personnel or scheme driven. He said 100% personnel. He said the players need to look themselves in the mirror and most importantly, be professional. What does that mean? He's insinuating that there are players in the Knicks locker room who aren't being professional. What does that mean? Who's he talking about? And this is what happens. That magnifying glass is put on you. Everything becomes heightened when you graduate from being just a cute little story. Oh, them making the playoffs is an achievement, to No, we're expecting you to get to the NBA finals and contend for a championship. Everything gets magnified. So when he's there last night saying we all need to do some soul searching, some looking in the mirror. Right now we're playing embarrassing basketball. We're not executing on the offensive end. Defensively, we've been abysmal. We've been terrible defensively. Then he's talking about guys need to be professional. Like that just it's like, that's odd. Like we're doing the vibes test, the vibes meter. There are some red flags here. Who's he talking about? They need to do some soul searching. Then he's coming back from injury prematurely because they've been in a rough patch. He says his ankle isn't fully 100%, and then you watch him on the floor, and he's giving out his all. He's actually one of the guys giving you 100% effort, but he just doesn't look right. And they need him to be 100%, obviously, if this thing is going to work. He is too valuable to what they do. So there are a lot of things to be concerned about with this team. Also, don't want us to forget like the Giannis trade stuff. That's not going away. And I said it a month ago when people tried to like extinguish this whole fire. Well, it's not going to happen this year. If anything, it'll happen in the offseason. That may be true, but what we know is players hear these things. They hear the rumors, they see it circulating. And as much as players and coaches will say, "Oh, we don't listen to the media. We're just locked in on what it is that we're doing." They hear that they're on social media. They're scrolling. They're being sent screenshots and links of what is being said about them from friends, from family. That stuff is happening. So when this is kind of serving as like an odor, or this is just as a cloud hovering over your locker room, that can create some, whether it be friction, tension, or just like a distraction because you can't stop thinking about, man, I might get traded in a couple weeks or this off season. And people will run to say, well, it's part of the business. You got to be professional. Great. Yeah, it's easy to say that. But when you are trying to win a championship and you have important players on the team that think there's a chance they could get traded, like it's not hard. It's not hard to become distracted by that. People pretend it's easy to just shut that off. They're human at the end of the day. Now, yes, the expectation is as a professional in a league and in sports where we know transactions happen all the time. It's just the cost of doing business. But to pretend like that's not a factor, I think is disingenuous. So there's a lot going on here, man. Blaze 455 dash VM9CB says trade Cat for Giannis. He's too soft, and we need some tough, relentless players on this team. It's so funny the amount of people who like just 6 weeks ago were just like, Giannis, don't really want him, begging for Giannis to come now. Your team's lost 9 of 11 games, so all of the we don't really want Giannis to disrupt what we have going here because we built the team the right way. What are you saying now? Like how insane does that sound today? Don't want Giannis. Jose in Brooklyn. Ty. I do think the Knicks are broken. Still, there's plenty of season left, but it's a major concern. The defense has been exposed, and Mike Brown doesn't seem cut to solve out the equation. Now, I don't think we blame Mike Brown for the defense. The roster is flawed. The roster has 5 guys who can't play defense. Kolek, Shamit, Brunson, Cat, and Jordan Clarkson just can't play defense. So if we think that's a Mike Brown issue, we are asking him to do what even Tibbs couldn't do. And that's turned them into this great defensive team. I think what you're counting on is Mitchell Robinson to be an eraser, which he has proven he can be. OG to be fantastic, which he has shown he can be. Josh Hart is able to guard. He's so versatile. He's able to guard all these different positions. And when he's healthy, he's splendid. He's not 100% right now. You also need Bridges. again, has just been underwhelming on defense. I'm watching him get cooked way too much. Deuce, undersized, but a really good defender. The Knicks have a lot of one-dimensional guys. A lot of one-dimensional guys. But if I can put out the Deuce, OG, Bridges, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart lineup defensively, that's a menace. Problem is, where's your scoring coming from? None of those guys are shot creators. None of those guys are shot creators. And once you put Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart on the floor at the same time, like teams can just pack the paint. You have shooting with Deuce, with OG, and OG's shooting is falling off of a cliff. But with in theory with him and Bridges, but when you only have three guys on the floor who can shoot, that's going to put a ceiling on what your offense can be. My analysis, along with my lifelong friend, who have vandalized everything with me forever, we really believe Cat is on the downturn. He would be very effective to play 20 minutes and get Mitch for 30. Well, I mean, he's your second best player. He is also a guy right now in the midst of a 4-year, $220 million contract, which includes 53 M's you're paying him this year. The idea that he's playing 20 minutes a night, and by the way, it's not going to sit right with him. You think Cat is like, yeah, I'm good playing 20 minutes a night. Now, sometimes he has to because he can't stay on the floor with all the fouling. But that's just not going to happen. The Pistons broke the Knicks. They need to improve this team. Sure, you can say that prior to the Pistons game, the Knicks got smoked at home by the Sixers. So, did they break them? Or were the Knicks already showing like signs? Were there already symptoms there that at the time we were ignoring? Remember, they had lost even before that Pistons game, right? They had lost in San Antonio on New Year's Eve. They had lost the Friday night game against the Hawks, but they were without three guys that night. Then they got smoked at home by Philly. The Pistons game was the fourth of the 4-game losing streak before they had the comeback win against the Clippers at home, then lost to Phoenix, beat Portland, and now they've lost 4 in a row again against the Kings, the Warriors, who just lost Jimmy Butler for the season with an ACL injury at 35 years old. Hard to imagine that this doesn't at least signal his career being closer to the end. And then lost to Phoenix, a game they were in it late, and then never were in that game yesterday against Dallas. So against the Kings, it's just tough to figure out. And I get Jalen got hurt early in that game. You should not have beat down 20 to Sacramento. They were up 17 early against Golden State and quickly blew that one. It was a tie game in the fourth quarter against the Suns and blew that one. Excuse me. And then yesterday was just non-competitive. Just wasn't competitive. All of your points, as always, right on the money. Thank you. As an option, won't happen. Cat played 20 minutes. Mitch plays 28 minutes. The contract say the reverse. F the contract. But, the point is deeper than just a contract. It's more, he's the second best player on your team. That's the type of thing that fractures the locker room. If you are saying we're going to play Cat 20 minutes a game, you might as well just trade him. You know how much respect I have for you. Forget the Giannis situation during the season. Yeah, it's not going to happen during the season, I don't think. But it's a constant conversation up until the trade deadline. And I'm sure like coaches will say that once you get past the deadline, because you are now ridding yourselves of the angst and all of those different emotions, the team becomes easier to coach. Trade deadline February 5th. So once we get to February 5th, you should be in a much better situation emotionally for this team. But it's funny, February 4th, the Knicks are home for the Nuggets. Jokic will be back. Then they're in Detroit, in Boston, home for Indiana, at Philly, home for Detroit, home for the Rockets. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 7 games against really good teams that at this point you could say are better than the Knicks. 6 of 7 against really good teams. And that is like sandwiching the trade deadline. So that's an important stretch to see what the Knicks do around the trade deadline and to see how they respond to all of the controversy right now with this team losing so much. You got a cupcake game against the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow. But I mean, thought that against Dallas and you got spanked. Then you're in Philadelphia on Saturday. It's going to be a tremendous atmosphere in Philly. It's an ABC nationally televised game. So they have to start winning. You know, they always say winning is the ultimate deodorizer. This team should not be this bad. We at no point that we think we'd be sitting here halfway through the season and the Knicks are 25-18. Like that's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And a couple of things. Maybe we overrated them. Maybe we thought the gap between them and the rest of the Eastern Conference was a lot larger than it actually ended up being. But the fact of the matter is they should not be playing like this. Like this is it really embarrassing. How come nobody knocked Max Christie after 4 in a row? How are you waiting for 10? That's just not what the NBA is anymore. Brunson at least tries on defense. Landry Shamet used to feel that way, and he has some size. Brunson will give you effort on defense. He will take charges. He'll muscle up. He's fighting those switches because they want to get Brunson switched on the guys, and he'll try to fight to get back to the man that they're picking off. He gives you effort. He's just not good defensively. The Pistons set the template, and everybody else with the athletic wings follows. Yes. And we saw that against the Sixers too. You get athletic wings, you get guys that can actually force pressure on the Knicks at the point of attack, and it's hard for them to overcome that. Sacramento was disgusting, even though it was against Brown's last team, and even the Lakers lost to the Kings. Yeah, the Kings had been playing very well and have been playing very well, but there's still no excuse for you to be down 20 to that team. That's especially, and you can say the Lakers lost to the Kings. The Knicks are expected to win the East. So yeah, they're just down bad right now. Ty D Butler, I appreciate you guys. I'll put a video out on social media explaining my feelings about this team, further explaining them in a condensed version. But I wanted to hop on here real quick just to do a little measuring barometer test of where the panic meter button is. It's a bad team right now. And if you're a Knicks fan, considering what the expectations were coming into the season and how you perform halfway through the year, which is a pretty significant sample size, you have every reason to be concerned. Ty D Butler, hit me on Twitter, on YouTube, on TikTok. Give me a follow. Smash that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.